Hello everyone, it's I, Wacky Anime What If here to present you with What If Deku Had a Yandere Quirk? Let's get into this. Part 3. Currently, Izuku Midoriya has his eyes closed, still in his bedroom, thinking about what happened yesterday. He's now gained a new quirk, which he doesn't know how to use yet, so he's gotta go to Deba Beach, meet All Might, and try to see if he can train him in this quirk, which he's very happy about getting. Nothing could ruin this day. He opens his eyes, and he's met with a ceiling, but a very scary sight on the ceiling. And he immediately shits himself and starts screaming like a little girl because he sees Kurumi on the ceiling, literally sticking on the ceiling, half covered in darkness, with one of her eyes glowing red, and has the creepiest face that just says, "You know what's gonna happen," and Izuku's just like, no. He just started screaming like a little girl. But then literally shuts up, calmly gets out of bed, walks towards the door, and Kurumi just looks at him curiously because he just didn't react like normal. He opens the door, closes it behind him, very, very slowly, and then he starts hauling ass and running down, all the way down the stairs, saying, "Hey mom, crazy bitch is back!" And immediately Inko just runs out of her room, doesn't even open the door, just slams into it, just panically opens the door, jiggling the doorknob, just opens it very quickly, closes it behind him, closes it behind her, runs down the stairs, almost trips, gets into the car after opening the front door, gets in the front seat, and just starts the car and says, "Izuku, get in, get in." And Izuku just runs all the way beside, gets in the passenger seat, and just says, "Drive, woman, drive." She starts driving off, and Izuku is just like, "Ooh, we got away from her." And a third voice says, "Yeah, we got away from her, definitely." While Izuku says, "Yeah, I know, right? That was like crazy. Like, why does she keep coming back here? Like, really?" And Inko's like, "Yeah, I know, right? Like, honestly." And then they realize, hold up, there's only supposed to be two people in this car. Who's the third person? So they look in the rear view mirror, and they see Kurumi just sitting there. Her eyes are closed. She has a happy face, just literally swaying side to side like a little kid in a candy store. And Izuku just has a blank face and says, "Hey, mom." Looks beside him, and immediately Inko looks at him and says, "What do you want?" And Izuku says, "Could you stop the car for a minute?" Stops the car, and Kurumi just looks directly at Izuku and says, "So, what you doing?" Izuku says, "Well, you see, I'm doing this secret technique that most people do not know." And Kurumi's like, "What's the technique exactly?" She says, while tilting her head with a sinister smile. And Izuku just says, "All right, first, I've got to..." He unbuckles his seatbelt, opens the door, and starts running out. He says, "Run away!" He starts running, and all that Kurumi does is just literally phases out of the goddamn car. And immediately, Inko's like, "Oh my god, my son's being chased by a fucking creepy-ass ghost. I'm just gonna drive to the store and get some milk real quick. And probably some groceries. I'll be back in a little." Just starts driving to the store, gets some groceries. Is ignoring how Izuku's running away for his life right now, but hey. POV chains, Izuku. Izuku's like, "I hope my mom went out for help. I mean, hopefully." So he's running away, and it literally is like, I think I might have lost her. Still running, looks behind him, and sees the most terrifying thing. Sees her literally floating off of the ground, like inches off the ground, and just is in a T-pose position, just hovering towards him menacingly. And Izuku's like, "Oh hell no." He starts running quicker, and he's like, "You want to see some real speed?" He starts running. He runs so fast that people are like, "Oh my god, what the hell's happening? I see dust particles behind this man. Is that kid getting chased by a ghost?" Is what one person is saying in the crowd. Like, a crowd is forming around, just watching this. And one person's like, "Oh my god, wow, that is creepy. Like, she's T-posing towards this man." And Izuku just starts screaming, and one guy in the crowd's like, "Oh my god, that little girl is being chased by that scary ghost behind him." And why does it look like a gothic? Is what one person says. And immediately gets shot directly in the testicle. And just on the ground. It's like, I wonder what the fuck happened. Oh my god, no, I'm the one. No. And the other guy's like, hey, Gary, I guess you're the one that wonder now. And Bob's like, fuck you, Gary. And then Izuku, who heard the conversation in the background, just starts to laugh a little bit. But then he realizes, holy shit, someone got shot. Wonder who did that. While literally Kurumi, who has a gun out and still T-posing, just puts it like right in the pocket in her dress and immediately just starts whistling while chasing Izuku, just looking away from the direction that she shot. While Izuku's like, alright, just gonna look at my phone while running. Kurumi's getting closer and closer now. Like, she's like right behind him while he's still running, just like looking over him where the phone is. And Izuku just looks up like different things to stop Yandere's, and he sees, oh my god, the legendary item, the rape whistle. And then he immediately buys it, and then he says, oh, that'll take 2 weeks to get to your house. And Izuku's like, yes, finally, a defense. And Kurumi behind him, directly behind him, looking over his shoulder, literally has her head on his shoulder now, while Izuku's looking behind him in horror. Just eyes are completely blank, very distressed. And she says, 2 weeks is all it takes for me to take them cheeks. And Izuku's like, oh, hell no. He just starts running quicker and quicker. He's like, top speed. So he starts running more and more. Kurumi finally gives up chasing him and just basically just says like, yeah, I'm about to dip. Just disappears into the shadow. And Izuku just looks behind him, is already at Deoba Beach, and it's like, thank God, she's gone. Looks in front of him and sees All Might. As soon as he sees All Might, he says, alright, so how do I use this power exactly? He asks him that immediately, while All Might's like, no, how have you been? Or how did you survive that crazy bitch? And Izuku's like, wait, what crazy bitch? And immediately, All Might sees Kurumi right behind him, half hiding behind a tree, just peeking out with one red eye glowing behind Izuku. And Izuku just not sensing any of this. And All Might's like, oh no, I just signed my death warrant. He starts sweating intensely, and he's like, oh, young Midori, let's just go to the lesson. Like, follow me. Just, please follow me. He starts dragging him all the way to Deoba Beach and says, off we go. While Kurumi says, that's right, you little bitch. It just disappears into the shadow. All Might's POV. I'm very scared. I'm not going to think about the things that has happened to me because of that girl. Honestly, I still go to therapy. They swapped up my doctor today. I wonder who it is. So immediately, while Izuku and All Might are talking and everything now, he says, alright, your training is put all your power into one arm. Okay? And immediately, Izuku says, yeah, how do you do that then? All Might says, well, for me, I imagine the power flowing through my body into one limb, and then I end up usually punching directly in front of me, really, really hard. And Izuku says, so essentially you just punch someone really, really hard. And All Might's like, yes, I do. And Izuku's like, do you punch all your problems? And All Might's like, well, I mean, not always. Flashback. A person in front of All Might saying, alright, so, I'm gonna need you to do your taxes. And All Might just says, I hate taxes, and punches him in the face, and he flies out of the building. He's like, oh, shit, I accidentally punched my problems away. He just, like, walks away and starts whistling. Flashback ended. So, Izuku's just staring at All Might, and is wondering, why is he not talking? And then he just realizes, oh, he must be in a flashback. So he just gets a Sharpie out. He draws, a dick on his face, like on the side of his face. He draws a dick on his face. And then he puts on the top of his face, bitch might. And then he just starts chuckling to himself. And then he hears a terrifying giggle behind him. And he just looks behind him and sees nothing. Just looks back in front of him and sees All Might, and he just admires it more. And Kurumi's like right behind him, just head sinking out of the ground, out of the darkness, just also looking and giggling more. And Izuku swears that he hears it. He looks back a few times, and just Kurumi's gone. And Izuku's like, I must be being paranoid. So he just looks in front of him to All Might, and Kurumi just is completely gone now. Izuku is now wondering how long is his flashback exactly, and then he's finally out of it. All Might looks at him and says, "Alright, so basically imagine everything into one hand, okay?" And Izuku's like, "Alright, I'll try." And he says, "Make sure you breathe in and out too." So Izuku starts breathing in and out. And then he just ends up envisioning all the power going through his one arm. He envisions his right arm. He envisions little bit of lightning. He envisions power. He envisions all the power that's inside of him going through him. And then his arm starts to light up a little bit. Izuku looks at his arm and he's like, "I did it! I did it!" And he starts putting his hands up in the air and starts jumping up and down like an energetic kid. And all of a sudden, All Might just says, "Kid, are you sure you're not on any drugs?" And Izuku looks at him and says, "Coffee is a hell of a drug." And all of a sudden, All Might's like, "Okay, kid, we're just gonna remove coffee out of your life now." And Izuku's like, "Never." And he just turns into like a demon voice. And then he's like, "Okay, never mind." Is what All Might's like, "You keep your coffee." And Izuku's like, "Yeah, that's what I thought." So All Might says, "Alright, so I'm gonna need you to punch me with everything you have." And Izuku just has like the All Might face. And he's like, "Are you sure about that?" And All Might's like, "I can take it," as he's in his buff form. And then he's like, many decades of my life have been spent masturbating and gaining grip strength and power through my right hand. Are you sure you can take it?" And All Might's like, "I'm pretty sure. I mean, I fought villains. How bad could one punch be from a teenager with my quirk, which is really overpowered, been passed down from Actually, could we go ahead and cancel?" And before he could even say anything, Izuku just punches him directly. The thing is, All Might didn't account for the height difference, so all of a sudden, when he's punched, you could hear the nutcrackers going off. You could hear fireworks going off. You could hear a whole choir just saying, "Hallelujah, hallelujah." And then All Might's on the ground, just holding his groin and saying, "You just cracked my All Mights." And then he's in pain, just crying. He's like, "Why would you do such a thing?" And Izuku's like, "I didn't mean to. It's just the height difference, dude. Are you okay? Do you need me to call a doctor?" And all of a sudden, All Might's like, "Yeah, can you call a doctor, please?" And then he calls a doctor, and a few hours later, All Might's finally like off the ground. And he's like, "I'm okay." And he raises his hands all the way up into the air. And he's like, "I'm finally okay." And he's like really happy because that was painful as shit before. He looks at Izuku, he's like, "Alright, could you not do that though? Please don't." He's like, "Alright, so we're gonna be sparring a little bit, like, throughout the months of the UA to UA. So that's most of what we'll be just doing. Mostly combat training. I mean, you're getting the brains upstairs, right?" And Izuku says, "Yeah, I have one thing that you don't have, and that is my brain." And All Might says, "I use my brain." And then Izuku says, "Yeah, you use your brain, definitely. I mean, you use it to headbutt people." And All Might's like, "Yes, I do. Don't you forget it," while pointing it at Izuku while he just face palms. Izuku says, "Alright, so just checking, is it possible that I can actually put one for all into my legs?" And All Might's like, "Yes, but I don't suggest it because," before he could even finish, Izuku's like, "Bet." And he just puts it into his legs and he's like, "I'm gonna see how high I can jump." And immediately All Might's like, "Izuku, no!" But he jumps and he's like jumping 400 meters in the air. And Izuku's like, "Oh my god, I can see my house from here. Why do I feel immense pain?" He looks downwards and sees that his legs are like flapping behind him like someone on a windy day with a goddamn cape on. No, like Play-Doh. This man's like, "Oh my god, no! My legs are broken." My legs. He just says that. He's like screaming at the top of his lungs. And All Might's like, "I tried to warn you." He's screaming from the ground. And Izuku's like, "Help! Help!" as he's falling down. But then he's like, "Hold up, wait, I can fly." He just starts like waving his hands up and down. And All Might says, "Kid, you can't fly. You're falling." And he's like, "Oh, I thought it was. I was just being optimistic." And he just continues to fall down. And he's like, "Well, at least I'm away from crazy bitch. At least I don't have to deal with that anymore." And immediately, he sees a shadow above him. He looks upwards, and is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a yandere, bitch, coming right towards you. Oh, shit, is what Izuku says before getting grabbed right from the shoulders and being taken off. Literally, Kurumi grabs him by the shoulders and just flies all the way to the ground and places him on the ground gently, and then walks towards All Might and says, you should be more careful. You should probably have told him that before he did it. While All Might says, I tried. I really did. Please don't hurt me. And Kurumi just looks at him, smiles, has one red glowing eye, and says, just follow me. I just want to talk. And All Might just looks at Izuku and says, help me. Izuku just looks to the side and starts whistling. And All Might's like, no, someone help. And Kurumi's grabbing the back of his collar shirt and it's starting to like just take off with him. Like he's on the ground being dragged by Kurumi. He just like his hands are going through the ground, just trying to like grab onto something. He's like, no, not again. And he starts asking for help like so loud, and everyone around Dayaba Beach is just looking directly at All Might right now, and they see him being dragged by this really creepy looking female. She looks beautiful, but damn, that smile just screams out, you're fucked. So they're all just looking to the side, just doing awkward conversations to the guy beside them, or the person beside them. Or some of them are just whistling, some of them are looking at their phones. Some of them are laughing because, well, All Might has all that stuff drawn on his face. One of them says, oh my god, All Might, look at your face, you have a dick drawn on your face. I didn't know you swung that way. Oh my god, bitch Might, that's hilarious. Like, one of them is just laughing. And then All Might just says, what did you say? Are you talking shit? And then the guy says, no, look at your face. He pulls out his phone while still being dragged. He looks in the reflection of the phone, and he's like, real funny, Izuku, before being dragged by Kurumi into the darkness and just disappearing from view. And then, after a few minutes later, Izuku could hear horrifying screams. And Izuku's like, I don't want to know what's happening there. POV change. It's been a few hours. All Might's finally at his doctor's appointment with his therapist, and he doesn't know what this new therapist is. So he walks in, he sits down, lays down on the couch in front of him. He says, my day has been awful. I finally found a successor. Finally. But he's attached to this really crazy, insane bitch. I mean, oh my god. Creepiest smile that screams out rape. And honestly, terrifying. Like, she has a glowing red eye. Oh my, I never thought that I'd be scared of that more than any villain. Like, no. God damn, she's creepy. He just starts saying that. And then the person, he hears notes being scribbled. And he's like, are you writing that down? Okay, so, what do you think? And he looks up and sees the most horrifying thing. Sees a clipboard in front of his face, like in front of the doctor's face, and says, hey doc, can I see what you look like real quick? And then the doctor just places the clipboard down very slowly, and immediately All Might sees one clock eye and one glowing red eye and some sinister laughing behind the clipboard, and sees that it's Kurumi, and he's like, oh fuck. He just runs, says, time to go out that window. He just runs towards the window and tries to jump out, but gets grabbed by the leg and gets dragged all the way out of the therapy room. That day, everyone that was going to therapy heard tons of screams saying, no, not there, no. And immediately heard All Might getting absolutely beaten up. Literally, she big booted him. Literally, All Might got out of the actual restroom and was absolutely beaten up. Some went up towards him and said, oh my god, All Might was beaten up in a villain attack. Look at his bruised up face. And also, why is there blood on your trousers? And all that All Might said was, I don't want to talk about it. And he said, she also wore high heels today. He mutters that and just starts walking away. Like, his eyes are devoid of soul. And Kurumi is just in the background laughing. And everyone in the entire therapy is just like fucking terrified about that laughter. They're like, where the fuck did that come from? They go to their therapy room, that group therapy room, and then all of a sudden, Kurumi decides to pull a prank, and she's just like phases through through the wall, like half her body through the wall, and says, "Want to see a dead body?" And then all of them start screaming. POV change. Izuku is now at home. Currently, well, that's what he wanted to be at, but he's not at home. He's still in Dayaba Beach, and everyone's forgotten him. Well, at least he doesn't have to deal with her now. So he's about to sleep, but he then sees something in front of him. He sees like a dark portal thing. He's wondering what that is. And then he sees, oh no, no, not you. Sees Kurumi just rise out of the portal. And she says, "I've returned." Well, Izuku says, "Could you not have?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm like so fucked." He realizes his legs are broken. What does he do? Kurumi just throws a button in front of him, and it just says "Life Alert." Izuku says, "What life alert? Do I? Why would you do this?" While Kurumi says, "It's because you've fallen and you can't get up." And Izuku's like, "Really? Really? Does this make you happy?" Well, Kurumi just says, "Well, yes, it does." He really takes the life alert button back, just picks him up bridal style, and just takes him all the way to his house. Just walks there too, while petting him like a fucking bunny. And Izuku's just fucking terrified. He's like shivering right now. He's just looking at her like, "Oh my god, no, no." He's like, "Okay, so here are my options." And then like a Pokemon screen just appears in front of him. Like it says, "Option 1. Try to punch her in the face and run away. 2. Just accept it. 3. Scream for help." He's like, "All right, option 3 it is. Help, help." He starts screaming out for help, and then just feels like a hand right above his mouth. And he immediately is like, "Oh, fuck, I can't call out for help now." Muffled screams for help. And like people are just ignoring it. And this one chick, known as Ayano, she immediately is with her husband, is looking at the scene, and she says, "This is how I got my senpai." What a cute couple. Exactly how I got my senpai. And the man known as senpai is shivering, and he's just looking at Izuku. It's like, "May the force be with you. Be strong." Back to Izuku. Izuku's just literally thinking, "How do I get the hand off?" He's like, "Option 1, bite." So he just bites her hand, and is thinking that she's gonna like pull her hand away, but no. He hears a horrifying thing. He hears a fucking moan, and then he's like, "Oh shit, that's a kink. Fuck." So he starts literally just thinking, "I'm just gonna be silent now." So he's completely silent now, just not moving anymore. Kurumi just takes him all the way to his house, opens his door with a key that she has, which Izuku seeing this is like, "Holy fuck, she has a key to the house. How did she get a key to the house?" And like she knew what he was thinking. She said, "Oh, I just copied one off the one you had." And Izuku's like, "How did you get the one I had?" And Kurumi just has like a sinister smile, and Izuku's like, I don't want to know anymore." She literally goes all the way into the house, goes all the way up the stairs, puts him into the bed, and basically just starts humming a song until he goes to sleep. Well, that's what she was trying to do, but Izuku was really focused because there's one glowing ass eye, and she's staring directly at him while he's trying to go to sleep. So he asks her really kindly, "Could you please, go anywhere else?" And she just says, "Okay, I'll be back," she says creepily before she just like goes into the closet. She goes into Izuku's closet. And Izuku's like, I know you're still in there. And she's like, "Dang it." And Izuku's like, "Oh, okay, could you, like, leave?" And then Izuku's closet, like, just creeps open by itself. And, like, she's completely gone. And Izuku's like, "How did she do that? Oh my god, this is Houdini. This is Houdini. It's a creepy version of Houdini. I knew it," is what Izuku's thinking. Confirmed. While Kurumi, who's flying out of the window that she like quickly opened while Izuku was blinking for a few seconds after she shot him with a bullet that froze him in time, just flew out the window. Just made it look like that. So while she's flying out of the window, Inko just literally just completely drives into the house, right into the garage, gets out, gets all the groceries, is about to take them in, looks up in the sky and sees a flying crazy lady that she's seen a lot. And she just drops her groceries and said, "She can fly? Well, we're fucked." And that's how you end it. What if Deku had a Yandere Quirk Part 3? That's where we're going to end it. I hope you all enjoyed. If you do, make sure you support the series by liking, smashing that like button to oblivion, and please subscribe. And I've noticed that about 55% of you guys are not subscribed who are watching this. So please subscribe if you want more content like this. Or don't. I honestly, it's your choice. Anyway, goodbye, and have a good day.